afternoon and welcome to Live at 4 on this Wednesday. Pausing the impeachment hearing coverage from CBS, so we have a full hour program.
We're actually on time.
Actually.
That's very good.
And here's what's making news on this Wednesday. Opening arguments of President Trump's impeachment trial get underway in Washington.
The State of the State address is tonight. Governor Evers is preparing for his second annual State of the State. We'll share what lawmakers are expecting to hear tonight.
And opening statements are underway in the trial of Harvey Weinstein. The disgraced movie mogul faces charges involving 2 women, including rape and sexual assault.
Let's take a look outside today. Didn't see much of the sun, but for January, not too bad.
Not too bad. Still some open water wherever that is, so be careful. Oh, it's this Rock County. It's Rock River. Be careful going out there. A little snow, a little more snow. Apparently, Dana's in the backyard. A couple of days worth here, but not much accumulation.
Yeah, we won't see too much stacking on up, but enough that it'll be a nice fresh layer on top of what we already have right now. So here's a live look with our Edgewater sky cam. Mostly cloudy sky for us currently. Not a lot of sunshine today, and we're really not going to see much sunshine as we look ahead through the rest of the work week. With our high resolution Doppler, some areas already seeing light snow, some areas seeing flurries right now in Madison out here on the patio. Nothing falling, but it is starting to build on in, so we will have some light snow picking up tonight. Plan on alert day for tonight and your Thursday. Some light snow coming down, and of course some areas of fog possible for Thursday. Visibility will be reduced for Thursday and for Friday. Our alert day for Friday due to that light snow continuing on with minor accumulation possible also during the day on Friday. We'll take a closer look at accumulation totals for the entire event and also kind of breaking it down into little segments as we work through the next few days in just a few minutes. Right now on the roads, here's the Beltline at Park Street. Both east and westbound seem to be moving along fairly smoothly right now. No major accidents to report, though, of course, the eastbound side gets a little slower closer to Fish Hatchery Road. Around Middleton, all is fine. And if we look closer to Janesville, no delays. The interstate's all nice and smooth right now. From Janesville to the Beltline, it'll take you 25 minutes, 16 minutes to get from Sauk City to Middleton and to get from Sun Prairie to downtown this evening. As you saw on the radar, there is some spots with some light snow, but it doesn't seem to be impacting travel at this time. But we're going to keep a close eye on the 2.
All right, check back in a few minutes. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Dana. We start with breaking news just into the Channel 3000 Alert Center. The Dane County Sheriff's Office is looking for 3 vehicles related to a homicide last week near Blue Mounds. Deputies say they're looking for a small silver 2-door vehicle that was headed southbound on Highway JG near Stewart County Park around 1:10 last Wednesday afternoon. They're also looking for a red vehicle in the same area before 1 o'clock traveling north. Deputies are also looking for a full-size dark-colored pickup truck in the area of County Highway JG near Burgum Road between 12:30 and 1:30 in the afternoon. There's much more information about this on our website, channel3000.com. Day 2 of the Senate impeachment trial is underway with House managers delivering their opening arguments against the president.
The session began less than 12 hours after the Senate approved Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's organization resolution along party lines without accepting any of the Democrats' 11 amendments. Natalie Brand is on Capitol Hill with a look at the day's proceedings so far.
The Senate will convene as a court of impeachment.
House managers took the lectern to begin making their case for why they believe President Trump's conduct with Ukraine warrants removal from office.
In corruptly using his office to gain a political advantage, in obstructing the investigation into his own wrongdoing, the president has shown that he believes that he's above the law.
The resolution is agreed to.
The early Wednesday vote on the rules of the trial left the question of witnesses for later, after 11 amendments offered by Democrats were voted down.
If we're going to hear from witnesses, I have my own witness list. I'd absolutely want to hear from Hunter Biden.
We don't need to have witnesses that have nothing to do with this, that are trying to distract Americans from the truth.
Before leaving Davos, President Trump joked he'd like to attend the trial. He also said witnesses would be up to the Senate, but added executive privilege would prevent testimony from former National Security Advisor John Bolton and other key officials.
I'd love to have Mike Pompeo, but it's a national security problem. Rick Perry would love to testify, but we're dealing with national security.
The president's lawyers say they have not filed a motion to dismiss the impeachment trial because they are confident they will win acquittal. They will begin their presentations later this week after the House managers finish their opening arguments. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
President Trump wrapped up his visit to the World Economic Forum in Switzerland with an unscheduled media session. The president called his visit to Davos a tremendous success and praised the U.S. economy under his watch, saying since his election, America has gained over 7 million new jobs and the unemployment rate is at the lowest in half a century. The president also met today with the president of Iraq. The leaders discussed reducing foreign troops in Iraq. President Trump says the director of the World Trade Organization will be visiting Washington in the next couple of weeks for talks to resolve the U.S. dispute with the WTO.
The preparations for Milwaukee's Democratic National Convention have made their way to Madison. Members of the Wisconsin Restaurant Association met with state lawmakers this morning to discuss moving bar time during the convention. Under a proposed bill at the Capitol, bars would be allowed to stay open in Milwaukee and Madison until 4 a.m. as events wrap up in Milwaukee. Many delegates will be looking for a place to get a drink or a bite to eat, even here in Madison.
Although the convention is happening in Milwaukee, and we know that the delegation is not going to be getting out until 11 o'clock at night, and then they usually do receptions, then they get in buses and they come back here. We need to have that extra time, and we really want Madison and our surrounding areas here to be able to take advantage of that economic opportunity.
The meeting was part of a larger meeting of restaurant owners and suppliers discussing changes in the industry and new laws and policies.
Governor Tony Evers is set to deliver his State of the State address tonight with an emphasis on more bipartisanship from the legislature. Excerpts from the speech were released this afternoon. The governor is calling for nonpartisan redistrict reform, clamping down on vaping among young people, and capping the cost of insulin and getting the chemical pollutant PFAS out of the water. The governor is expected to ask for moves that make higher education more available to Wisconsin residents. The saga continues at the new Canopy venue open in the former Prism nightclub building. On
top of not having their alcohol license, they also do not yet have a food and drink license, a place of assembly license, nor a building permit. Our Jamie Perez found out more about what this means for the business. Jamie.
Well, the most important one of those is that building permit. I'm told that last Friday, during their soft opening, someone complained to building inspection that there was some unauthorized construction that was going on in there. The building inspection supervisor said they have not received a building permit application by the owner, Austin Carl, which means no alterations to the structure of the building is allowed. The building inspection supervisor told me that he has tried to visit Canopy to see if that claim is true, but he has not been able to reach the owner or get into the building. But when he does gain access, he says there's a number of things that will come next.
Anytime we go to a property, if we find that there's unpermitted work that's done, we're going to evaluate a couple of things. We're going to evaluate the scope of what was done. We're going to evaluate how it may impact individuals, and then we're going to take appropriate actions.
And even though building inspection has not been able to confirm if there is that unauthorized construction, I did find out that Public Health of Dane County hasn't granted Carl his food and drink license yet because when they went in to inspect the place, they said there was still construction going on in the kitchen area. I did reach out to Carl to give him a chance to respond to all of this, but he did not return my messages.
All right, Jamie, thank you.
More than 2 years after the first allegations were made, Harvey Weinstein's trial got underway today in New York. The disgraced movie producer is now on trial for rape and criminal sexual assault. More than 80 women have accused Weinstein of misconduct. Weinstein says all of his sexual encounters were consensual, and his attorneys say they have the dozens of affectionate emails from accusers to prove it. Attorney Gloria Allred represents several of Weinstein's accusers and says the emails do not prove consent.
I expect a number of the witnesses to be able to put their emails in context to explain why they continue communication.
The judge expects the trial to take more than a month. After the New York trial, Weinstein faces additional rape charges in Los Angeles.
An Arizona mother is accused of murdering her 3 young children. According to a newly released police report, the 22-year-old Rachel Henry is accused of smothering her 3 children in their Phoenix home, even singing to some of them as she took their lives. Investigators say after it was done, Henry then put the 3-year-old, the 1-year-old, and 7-month-old on a couch, positioned to look as if they were taking a nap. A friend of Henry who wished to remain anonymous said this isn't the person she knew.
I'm disappointed and I'm heartbroken. I don't understand how she could do something like that.
Police say Henry admitted to committing the crimes and told them the children's father was not home at the time. Part of the next phase of the investigation will be determining motive. Police report does say Henry had a drug addiction and had been acting strange the last several days.
Monty Python star Terry Jones has died at the age of 77. Jones was known for his role as a member of the Monty Python comedy troupe, with whom he directed films such as Life of Brian. According to PA Media, Jones passed away at his London home with his wife Anna Soderstrom by his side. He had been suffering with various health issues, including dementia. A local delivery driver makes a big delivery for a friend who had their vehicle stolen.
She was about to give up on her search when suddenly it was found. Eric Franke here has that story. Eric.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool story with a good ending here, Mark and Susan. Cassidy Rosenthal is a delivery driver for Eat Street, so her car obviously is her livelihood. Without it, she'd been unable to work. One of her 2 part-time jobs had been stolen right out of her driveway. She had been talking to an insurance company about simply totaling the vehicle. Almost 2 weeks later, another Eat Street delivery driver, Jordan Rouse, spotted a familiar vehicle.
It was really stressful. Like, the financial aspect of it was stressful, and also like my car getting stolen, and like my Eat Street hoodie was in my car, and my work apron was in my car. You know, like my car is a very central part of my life.
I stopped what I was doing and I called my friend Cassidy, and I said, hey, did you ever get your car back? Because I know it was stolen. And she said, no, I didn't. And I said, well, it's right here. And she said, hang up and call 911 right now.
Yeah, he spotted it at Dayton and Marion Streets, downtown Madison. Jordan flagged down a nearby officer to help with that recovery. Jordan was able to recognize Cassidy's vehicle from all the distinctive bumper stickers she has on it. Cassidy simply thrilled that other than a blown out tire, the car had almost no damage. It was in decent shape. No words on a possible suspect at this time. Mark, Susan?
We like happy endings.
A good ending.
All right, Eric, thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Still to come at 4, electric vehicles are still a small minority of the cars sold.
But 96% of owners of EVs say it's the only way to go. More on the survey results and why people love their EVs when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Welcome back, everyone. Toyota and Honda are recalling millions of cars over unrelated safety issues. Toyota is recalling 3.4 million cars, 2.9 million of them here in the U.S. The issue is potentially defective equipment that's intended to protect passengers during a crash. The affected models include some Corolla, Corolla Matrix, Avalon, and Avalon HV lines produced between 2010 and 2019. Honda is recalling 2.7 million cars. That's 2.4 million in the U.S. and 300,000 in Canada. Honda says some Acuras produced between 1996 and 2003 may have dysfunctional Takata airbag inflators. The inflators might have been produced without the appropriate seals that are needed for proper deployment. Buffalo Wild Wings is making a side bet with football fans ahead of the biggest game of the year.
The chicken wings chain is betting with fans that this year's Super Bowl will not go into overtime. If it does, it says it'll give free wings to everybody in the United States and Canada. According to Buffalo Wild Wings, Las Vegas sports bettors believe there's a 10% chance that the game will go into overtime. The San Francisco 49ers take on the Kansas City Chiefs in Miami on February 2nd. Netflix says it has a head start on its rivals as the market for streaming services gets more crowded. The company says it added close to 9 million new subscribers in the last quarter of 2019. That's beating expectations. It also expects to line up 7 million more by the end of this quarter. But on the downside, its growth in the U.S. and Canada has been sluggish. The numbers were released as competition for streaming services heats up. Netflix is going head-to-head not only with newcomers such as Apple Plus and Disney Plus, but also upcoming competitors like HBO Max and NBC's Peacock. The world's richest man, Amazon's Jeff Bezos, is often untouchable, but in May of 2018, the tech giant's cell phone was reportedly compromised and massive amounts of data were stolen within hours.
The infiltrator is said to be a world leader, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. Sources tell Britain's The Guardian. Bezos and the Crown Prince were engaged in a seemingly friendly WhatsApp exchange when bin Salman sent an unsolicited malware-infected file. It's unclear what information was taken. Questions about who has access to the tech executive's phone were first raised last year after the National Enquirer leaked photos and intimate text messages between Bezos and former TV anchor Lauren Sanchez. Automakers are offering more electric vehicles, but a lot of people are still hesitant to buy them.
Susan Etheridge was on the fence about buying an electric vehicle, or EV, but after having her Chevy Bolt for a year, she says she loves it. And she's not alone. A new survey from AAA finds 96% of electric vehicle owners would buy or lease one again. AAA says most people don't buy EVs because they worry about finding a place to charge it, but there are now thousands of charging stations across the country and plenty of apps and websites that show where they are.
95% of electric vehicle owners say they never ran out of a charge while they owned their electric vehicle.
Most people charge at home, but Susan rents an apartment and relies on paid charging stations. She says that costs her about $70 a month compared to the $180 she used to spend on gas. The big downside, the price tag for electric cars, often around 80% more than gas-powered equivalent models. Well, for 28 years, the Society of St. Vincent de Paul has been collecting blankets for those in need.
Joining us tonight is the communications manager for St. Vinny's, Max Wynn. Welcome to Live at 4, Max. Good to see you. 28 years, that's as long as you've been alive, right?
Yeah, so quite a while. I already feel old. So
that is quite a while, but there's always people watching who may not be familiar with Recycle the Warmth. So tell us how it works.
For sure. So this weekend, Friday through Sunday, at all 7 of our Dane County thrift stores, you can either bring in your own gently used blanket or bedding, or you can purchase blankets there for $14 and donate them right there. Or if you can't make it, you're out of town or something like that, you can certainly visit our website at svdpmadison.org/recycle the warmth.
And this is the one that you're selling. That's a nice one.
Yeah, this is, we like the nice and thicker ones just because obviously it's a little bit warmer than those thin throws, and they're for families all year round, but especially in the winter when it's super cold.
And what kind of need are we talking about here?
Certainly, and we gave out about 4,000 per year. I think it was almost closer to 5,000 last year.
Wow.
We have, along with our pharmacy and our food pantry, we go out to people in need throughout the community when they need us, and we give these blankets out. So it helps all year round. But you'd be amazed how many families have kids and they don't have anything to sleep on.
And they're available all the time, right? It's not a distribution period. People can come to St. Vinny's at any time of the year and get a blanket.
For sure, and that's why, yep, it's a year-round thing, and we're happy to help.
Yeah.
And St. Vinny's is more than blankets. You provide a lot of services to folks.
Yeah, kind of like I mentioned before, we have our food pantry, one of the biggest in the county. We also have our free pharmacy, which is the only one in the entire state of Wisconsin. We have a couple of housing programs over on the east side for women and children, and also for men. And I kind of mentioned earlier our voucher program. People come to us for help with furniture or clothing, and that's when we send out volunteers to help go to their apartments or wherever they're living to see if maybe they need something else, something more.
And all adds up to like $3 million a year. It's pretty impressive.
$3 million a year,
impressive,
yes.
yeah.
And this alone counts for about $100,000 worth. So
it's this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
That's correct. 7 Dane County thrift stores.
So just you can drop off a blanket or go there and purchase one, or as you say, you can go online as well. This fills a big need here, especially in January and February and March, these cold months.
Max, keep up the great work. Thank you so much.
All right,
Good to see you.
Still to come at 4, do you use a health app? Do you share personal information on that app?
Well, when we come back, that information may not be as protected as you think. We'll have that story coming up after Dana's First Alert forecast.
Take a look at this. It's raining iguanas. That's more or less the warning that was recently issued to Miami residents by the National Weather Service. Abnormally low temperatures hitting the area can stun the large lizards, causing them not to die, but to go into a dormant state and possibly fall from trees onto streets, cars, people, you name it. So if you're in South Florida, stay alert, because the temperatures may not be the only things that are falling.
This is a blizzard, what a blizzard looks like in Florida.
In Florida, I've had a lot of meteorologist friends sharing this story online, and yeah, if it gets below 40 degrees.
For them to issue a warning.
Yeah, for the
blizzard falling.
Blizzard warning.
All right.
Poor things, and then they thaw out, and then they're okay, right?
And then they're fine. Again, they're not hurt. They're just in a dormant state.
And they're kind of a nuisance, I understand. They eat a lot of fruit and flowers.
They eat a lot of fruit and flowers, but I mean, they were there first. So.
No, they're invasive.
Iguanas?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In South Florida.
I didn't know that. Learned something new.
Well, thank you, Professor.
That on a cruise? Gosh, yeah.
Always didn't. Yeah.
Your cruise now.
I've learned that. All right.
We have some amazing drone footage for you. This is from China.
A lake there has developed ice branches. Take a look at this. The mesmerizing aerials were captured over northwest China's Butterly Lake. The ice appears to have formed tree-like cracks below the surface following a sudden temperature drop. These sprawling cracks and the surrounding silhouettes are reportedly a very rare phenomenon.
Beautiful.
Very
Nature
pretty.
is amazing, isn't it?
Gorgeous. I love the close-up shots of snowflakes, too.
Yeah. Mark and I were over by the Edgewater Hotel today on the ice, and it was about 9 inches thick. They were measuring it for the Frozen Lakes Festival that's coming up.
It's coming up. I mean, you guys were asking temperatures, of course, have been above freezing in the afternoon, and that's kind of what we're looking at for the next 10 days. But our overnight lows dropping below freezing. That helps everything to ice right back on over. Mostly cloudy right now with some light snow coming on in. We'll take a look at your forecast right after the break. So right now it's nice and cloudy in Madison, but the snow is building on in. And once it gets here, really does stay for a while. The snow developing for us in the next few hours. We have some light flurries for some folks. Some folks already seeing a little light snow coming down, but nothing currently in Madison. The visibility is really going to be reduced for Thursday and Friday as we have a lot of fog expected for the both days to end up the week. And then the snow, of course, continuing for tonight, Thursday night, and through the day on Friday. So it sounds like a long duration event, but since it is going to be coming down so lightly and off and on at times, we're really not going to see too much accumulation by the end of the week. As we look at our high resolution Doppler right now, up towards Fond du Lac, we are seeing some lighter snow areas in Iowa, Grant and Sauk County, seeing some light snow. Seems like there's some light snow just to the eastern edge of Janesville, but otherwise not a lot coming down currently, just that mostly cloudy sky, but it is going to continue on for us over the next few hours, just picking up. We stay mostly cloudy. Our breeze continues to come from the south overnight into Thursday morning. Throughout the rest of this evening, we continue to see the snow build on in. And then for early in the morning on Thursday, around 2-3 o'clock, we have a little more consistent light snow throughout the area. Thursday during the day, we aren't going to have as much coming down. We get a little bit of a break. So that's your opportunity in the morning. Just take the broom out, clean things up. Mostly cloudy skies throughout the day on 30 with the chance for some light snow and flurries, but it starts to pick back up again Thursday night heading into Friday morning. Friday, we'll see the most accumulation for areas south and east of Madison. Skies will stay mostly cloudy during the day, and then that snow will gradually taper off Friday night heading into Saturday morning. Not so much a Saturday morning event. Again, it really tapers off overnight. So as we head into your Thursday morning, we're going to break this down a little bit into segments rather than just the overall total, because you're probably going to have to do a few different rounds of cleanup with this coming through. Tonight, we'll see totals land right around an inch for most of the area. So in the morning, again, probably just a light broom, maybe need the shovel if you're trying to cover a larger area, but you'll get those sidewalks cleaned up Thursday morning. By Thursday night, heading into Friday morning, again, not a lot coming through during the day on Thursday. We might see another inch over the course of all day Thursday and all Thursday night for Friday morning. So take a little extra time for Friday morning to make sure things are cleaned up. Might have to dust the vehicle off. And then by Friday night, heading into Saturday morning, we'll likely see another inch and a half come on through. So totals, as we get through this entire event, hovering around that 3+ inch range for most of Dane County. Now, our visibility, again, the bigger concern with the light snow coming down, roads likely not going to be too slick outside, but our visibility is going to be reduced with the light snow and the fog. So we're dropping our visibility down to about a mile during Thursday morning. Throughout the day, visibility stays low. And then for Friday morning, fog, a concern with those temperatures close to our dew points. Visibility is going to be down quite a bit. So that 3 to 5 inch range, again, is for Madison and areas east, because this eastern corridor is going to be picking up a little bit more snow on Friday. 4 to 6 inches for areas northwest of Madison, and the highest totals are going to be well northwest of La Crosse. Overnight temperatures holding pretty steady, only dropping to about 29 for overnight lows. The light snow and the fog building on in, and they stay with us for the next few days. Mostly cloudy skies for Thursday. Temperatures will be in the mid-30s for afternoon highs with fog and some snow showers. Again, light snow intermittent with some flurries possible for Thursday afternoon. Alert days in the forecast for Thursday and Friday. Just give yourself a little extra time in the morning to get things cleaned on up. And then if you are having to travel anywhere, it's going to take you just a little longer to get to work, likely with the fog coming on through. Temperatures through the next 10 days all stay above average for our afternoon highs and overnight lows. We're in a really mild stretch for January. Snow chances continue into Saturday morning. Then we get a bit of a break for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. But it does look like our next opportunity for some light snow will develop Tuesday night heading into Wednesday and Thursday. At this time, it doesn't seem like a big event, similar to this one, just some light snow at times coming through.
So those totals were for Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Correct. The final map there with all the pretty bright colors, that's the total accumulation of this event. When the snow finally stops on Saturday, we will be in that 3 to 5 inch range in Madison. But it is going to be, I think, a few different times of having to clean things off. You're probably going to have to brush the car off for early Thursday and early Friday morning.
This is like a guest that doesn't know when to leave.
I know, right?
Yeah.
One of those when you're just hinting like, you don't have to go home, but you don't have to stay here. Yes.
All right, well, we'll welcome him for the next few days.
For a few days, and then we'll get a break this weekend.
All right. Thank you, Dana. Well, the information women share with health apps may not be as protected as they think. Consumer Reports Digital Lab investigated what happens to that data.
CBS News correspondent Wendy Gillette has more on what you need to know to protect yourself.
An estimated 50 million women around the world use apps to track their monthly cycles and fertility, entering very sensitive personal information.
It could be
whether you're trying to get pregnant, whether you have fertility issues, do you have any health issues, whether you have unprotected sex.
Consumer Reports Digital Lab examined 5 popular tracking apps: Flow, Clue, Ovia, Baby Center, and My Calendar.
Some of the apps are more transparent than others about what information they collect and what happens to that information. But none could promise that the information that you shared isn't getting out into the wider world.
Consumer Reports found no major security flaws in the apps, but did find some minor issues regarding security or privacy and alerted the companies.
Some moved very quickly to make changes to the points that we raised. Others were just commenting about how important privacy is to them.
One way you can protect how much information you share: turn off location sharing to the app and access to your camera. Also, use a password manager to encrypt your password, limit ad tracking in your phone settings, and accept app updates that can fix bugs. And remember, the information you share is not covered by any federal health laws.
Many of the women I spoke with who do use the apps thought that that information was protected because in other areas of their life it is, but it is not with period tracker apps.
An important reminder that applies to many health apps we use daily. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, Yonkers, New York.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an eye-opener, isn't it?
It
To
is.
further protect yourself, you can also log in anonymously to apps, not registering your email address.
That might be a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, there's more to come before later on. We're talking air plants with Lisa Briggs.
And tonight at 5, why a nonprofit pushing for a new children's museum is pushing for a new children's museum in Sun Prairie. That's coming up tonight at 5. It's a gray afternoon in downtown Madison. Still relatively mild on the cool side.
Waiting for snow to move in?
That's right, snow is on the way. Sir Patrick Stewart returns as Captain Jean-Luc Picard in the highly anticipated new CBS All Access series, Star Trek Picard.
The veteran stage and screen actor first played the beloved Star Trek The Next Generation character in 1987 and continued for 7 seasons and 4 movies.
Hillary Lane finds out why he said yes to this new installment of the legendary sci-fi franchise.
Captain Jean-Luc Picard is ready to engage.
I will do what needs to be done.
Sir Patrick Stewart returns as the iconic leader in the CBS All Access series Star Trek Picard. He admits it was a role he was reluctant to revisit.
I believe that we had said it, we had done it, the story was told, that to add anything else would be perhaps even harmful to the original series.
But the story, which follows Picard as he tries to help a mysterious young woman, made him reconsider.
Not only was this okay, it actually was taking the whole Star Trek Next Generation and putting it in a different location at a different time with different ethics. I was hooked. Hello, Will.
Star Trek Picard reunites the captain with several of his Next Generation crewmates. It also includes other members of the Star Trek universe and introduces new characters.
Admiral, I am standing up for the Federation, for what it should still represent.
The sci-fi series also continues the Star Trek tradition of reflecting today's society. Faith in institutions, in this case Starfleet and the Federation, is questioned.
Neither of these organizations turn out to be quite what they were. But there have been changes, shifts in policy, in attitude, and it very much represents, in some senses, what is happening in our world today.
Picard and Patrick Stewart are up for the challenge. Hillary Lane, CBS News, New York.
And Star Trek Picard premieres tomorrow, Thursday, January 23rd on CBS All Access. You do have to pay for that.
That's right. Are you a Star Trek Trekkie?
I was in college.
Yeah, I was too for a while.
45 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been going on a long time.
This looks really interesting, though. Well, still to come at 4, do you have a brown thumb when it comes to houseplants?
Well, maybe air plants are the way to go. Lisa Briggs from the Roost Company will tell us all about air plants and squealing when Live at 4 continues.
Right now, we don't have any major accidents to report. Things actually looking fairly smooth for this time of day on the roads. Here's a look at the Beltline right at Park Street. Both east and westbound are cruising along. We aren't seeing any major delays actually along the eastbound side this afternoon. That's good news. Those delays picking up a little bit after Park Street, but again, usually we see them all the way through Fish Hatchery Road, and it's just not the case for tonight. Downtown actually looking pretty smooth as well. Around Janesville, a few delays downtown, but the interstate looks nice and smooth. 14 should be pretty smooth for you this evening. 24 minutes to get from Janesville to the Beltline, 17 minutes to get from Sauk City to Middleton, and from Sun Prairie to downtown. That's a quick look at traffic.
All right, Dana, thank you. We have an update on Jubilee, the husky we told you about on Monday. Jubilee ended up at an animal shelter. A breeder dropped her off because he said she looked weird and he couldn't sell her. She was born with a weird eye deformity that made it look like she was always surprised. Otherwise, she was normal and healthy in every way. The shelter posted a plea online asking for help finding Jubilee a forever home. The Facebook post went viral, and 2 days after 2 years in the shelter, Jubilee was adopted.
Aww.
The shelter said she's found her forever home with a family of husky rescuers.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
I love her look.
I do too. I do too. She's so cute.
One of the biggest mistakes plant owners make is overwatering them.
Well, that's not a problem with air plants. They don't grow in soil. They're so interesting, and here to tell us more about these mysterious plants is Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company.
Hi
Lisa.
there. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So we're all going to learn like a little 50-cent word, epiphyte.
Epiphyte.
And an epiphyte is a type of plant that attaches to a host, but doesn't take anything from the host.
Like
so
the side of a tree?
A side of a tree. Sometimes they're like some ferns, like staghorn ferns are an epiphyte, or orchids. They grow in the, in their natural habitat. They attach to a tree. They take all their nutrients through their foliage and through these little roots, these little rootlets. Sometimes you'll see these if you have moth orchids. But they don't take anything from the host, unlike things like mistletoe or Spanish moss that are parasitic, and they actually will take nutrients from the host plant.
So an orchid doesn't need any water? Or?
Well, it does, but it comes through the air. And most of the time when you get orchids, you'll find that they're potted in bark and not in soil. And so you just soak that bark, and then those little rootlets will take the moisture that's sort of in that kind of environment in the bark. And air plants are similar, although sometimes in the wild, they'll have little root structures, and that's what will attach. But they come in all kinds of funny shapes and colors, and they do bloom and one time in their lives, and then they're done. But they can last quite a long time. People will take them, and you can put them in funny little pots.
Look at this guy here. This is great.
I've seen them glued on like seashells or pieces of driftwood. This guy is a little combo, and this is just glued on a piece of styrofoam.
Oh, what a great idea.
With some little moss around it.
So how do you take care of them?
So they're super easy to take care of. They do need bright but indirect light, especially if you have them in a glass like this, because if you have that in the bright sunlight, direct light, that will intensify the sunlight and can burn it.
This glass is just for them. It has little vent holes
and you
on
just,
the side.
So when you want to water it, and they need watering about once a week, maybe a little more often when it's hot, and you just take them out of their little vessel and you soak them for about 15 or 20 minutes. You want to make sure that the water that you're using is either distilled or rainwater, or if you're going to use tap water, you want to let it settle overnight so that all the additives to our treated tap water sink to the bottom, and they'll just float. And then when you take them out, you're going to want to shake them because you don't want water to get inside of there. Sometimes that'll cause a little mold or rot, and let it dry off a little bit, and then
back in the pot.
Back in the
do
pot.
they
Oh, there
last?
is. They can last quite a long time. I mean, this was a huge trend in the 70s and 80s. Remember, they were like glued onto pieces of driftwood, and it's just you just use hot glue, or sometimes people use like staples or pins. But this is like the new succulent trend, are air plants, and they are. We get great big ones at the store, and then these these little small ones, and we'll have a bunch of them at the Garden Expo in a couple of weeks. So they're fun. We have them all the time.
An alternative.
It is, and it's nice if you are an underwaterer.
Yeah.
So yeah, just put them in a in a bucket of water. That's what we have, a bucket of rainwater at the store, and we just go through once a week and drop them in there, let them float around, and then shake them out. And
no fertilizer?
no fertilizer. No fertilizer.
No repotting?
No potting necessary.
It's a dream come true.
I was just going to say, it's got you written all over it.
And look, you could have silly pots too, so they're hilarious.
And what do they run? Are they inexpensive?
Yeah, they're pretty inexpensive, usually $4 or $5 a piece. So you can get a collection of them. If you get like a bigger vessel like this, you can put some stones in the bottom and kind of set them in there like a little cactus garden.
That's a great idea.
Super easy. Or a terrarium, whatever you want to use.
Alternative to Christmas cactus.
Yes, I know, our favorite.
On the news show every week.
Every time.
Every week there's a Christmas cactus question.
I love this orchid. This is so beautiful. Look at
Yes,
the color.
it is a really pretty one.
Wow,
but
very
they're
pretty.
the same class of plants as orchids.
Low maintenance.
Low maintenance.
Class over. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
See you next time. A final check of your weather coming up.
Pretty rough.
A snowy end of the week.
A snowy end of the week. It comes in and then it stays. Like you said, the unwelcome guest. Mostly cloudy right now. Here's a live look with our Edgewater Sky Cam. We don't have any snow coming down in Madison, but there are some spots with a little more steady light snow, and it's really going to look like this actually for the next few days. Alert days for tonight, Thursday, and Friday as the light snow continues on.
All right. Keep the shovel handy.
Yes.
Or the broom. Tomorrow here on Live Before, we'll find out what's happening in the 608 this weekend.
And a local doctor will join us. We're going to talk about the coronavirus. Is it a threat to southern Wisconsin? And what do you need to do to protect yourself? We'll talk about that tomorrow on Live at 4.